Lesson 21C, we are starting a new unit. That's why we start on 21 instead of leaving off the number we did before. We are talking about basic exponents. So you're going to be evaluating exponents, writing it in exponential form, and as an expanded product. So let's start with what an exponent looks like. This is exponential form, where there is a bigger number and a smaller number. You read this as 3 to the 4th power. The bigger number is called a base, and the smaller number is called the exponent. This is represented as 3 to the 4th power, so we read that as 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is an expanded product where you list it all out. And then if I ask you to evaluate that, then you would write equals 81. Okay, so exponential form, expanded product, evaluate. So let's practice that. On your notes, the first one, would you please read that out loud to us, Beth? Excellent. 5 to the 2nd power. Please write it as an expanded product, which is 5 times 5, which is
25.
Awesome. Look at number 2. Read that as an exponential form, please, Jeremy. Yes, 2 to the 4th power. Expanded product would look like 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is what?
16.
Excellent. Now, number 3 has a negative and it's in parentheses. It's very, very, very important when working with exponents that if there are parentheses, you leave it there. It will change the answer. Okay? So this is negative 3 to the 3rd power, which in expanded form looks like negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. Now, we all know that negative times negative is positive, but there is 3 of them. So this would be a positive answer or a negative answer?
Negative.
Awesome. Negative what?
27.
Good. Number 4. This is negative 9 squared, which means negative 9 times negative 9, which will be negative or positive?
Positive.
Positive.
81.
Awesome. Any questions about how to evaluate? Good, let's go over some vocabulary. The first one is exponential form. Go ahead and write down this example. 2 to the 5th power. If you see an exponent, like this one, it's called exponential form. It has an exponent. Makes sense, right? If you see it's asking for expanded product, you're going to expand it all out and list it. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Expanded means the long one. It's expanded out. Then if it says evaluate, that's when you actually multiply. This will be 32. Any questions about the vocabulary? Okay, good. Sometimes, especially on your homework tonight, you're going to see, instead of exponential form, go ahead and write this in your notes. It's going to say write it as a single base and exponent. This is the same thing as exponential form. Single base exponent. See how there's only one base and one exponent? That's what it is. Exponential form and single base with an exponent is the same thing. So now let's look at some special names. If I give you a power that looks like 7 to the 2nd power, right? You agree that that's how you read it? There is another special way to read that. Who can raise a hand and tell me what that is? 7 blank. Yes. 7 squared, which means 7 times 7. There's one other special one. This is 5 to the 3rd power, aka 5 cubed, which means 5 times 5 times 5. These are the only 2 that are special. The rest of them will be blank to the whatever power. So 5 to the 4th power, 5 to the 10th power, 5 to the 20th power. These are the only 2 that have special names. So back to your notes on the bottom there, number 5, we now have a fraction with parentheses, and it's negative. It is very, very, very important that you leave the parentheses there. Write it out as expanded product and then evaluate. So right now, that exponent is squaring not only the 2, but also the negative and also the 5. Which means you are going to write it as negative 2/5 times negative 2/5. if there are no parentheses, and it looks like this would be negative 2 times 2 over 5. Very different. This has 2 5s, this has 1 5. This has 2 negatives, this has 1 negative. Totally different answer. So the parentheses have to stay there. What is negative times negative?
Positive.
So the answer will be positive. What's 2 times 2?
4.
And what's 5 times 5? 25. So this will be positive 4 over 25. When you show your work, it has to have the parentheses. Okay? Number 6 also has parentheses. Again, it's very important that you leave it there, because if there are not parentheses, and it looks like this, that is a different answer. This one would be 3 7 times 3 7 times 3 7. The purple one would be 3 times 3 times 3 over 1 7. Okay, different answer. So this one will be written out with parentheses, so that you know that both of those top and bottom numbers are repeating. And what is 3 times 3 times 3?
47.
And what's 7 times 7 times 7?
43.
Very good. Any questions so far? We are now multiplying exponents. So we have multiplying with same base. If the bottom numbers, the bases, are the same, you can combine them, because this means 4 times 4 times 4, right? Then we have times another 4 times 4. How many 4s total are being multiplied?
5.
So you can write this as 4 to the 5th power. Expanded product to simplify it all out, so you can visually see that there are 5 4s being multiplied together, and then write it as exponential form. So let's practice then. Number 7, this says 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. How many 2's are being multiplied?
5.
So you can write this as 2 to the 5th power. Single base and exponent. Okay? Now this is not the same thing as this. Okay, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That would be 4 times 4 times 2. So 16 times 2 is 32. But 5 squared is what? 25. Those are not the same answer. Okay, just because it looks similar doesn't mean it's the same thing. Now number 8. How would you write that as expanded product? Awesome. 3 times 3 times 3. There is an invisible 1 here as an exponent. Just because there's nothing there doesn't mean it's 0. It actually means there's a 1. Because we are multiplying times 3. We're not multiplying times 0. So times 3. 3 times 3 times 3. So that's 3 to the 3rd power. Number 9 has parentheses. Can we get rid of them?
No.
No, you must leave it there. So this one we have negative 2 in parentheses, a total of how many times? 6 times. So you have to write it as negative 2 in parentheses to the 6th power. If you wrote this, this will be marked wrong, because this one, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive. Positive times positive times positive. This is a positive answer. But if you write it without parentheses, this is saying only the 2 is being to the 6th power, being raised to the 6th power, and then you negate it. So this would be a negative answer. The parentheses matter. Are we clear?
Yep.
If you see parentheses, leave it there. Fractions, leave it there. Leave the parentheses there. How many halves are being multiplied together in all?
5.
So this would be 1/2 to the 5th power. Leave it in parentheses. Number 11 is 1/4 to the 9th power. Very good. You must have the parentheses, not an option. Any questions about this part? Awesome. Let's go on. Now I'm giving you the expanded product and you're writing it in exponential form, meaning your answer will have an exponent in it. So how many negative 2's are being multiplied?
4.
So your answer will be negative 2 in parentheses to the 4th power. Okay, so on your notes, number 12, raise your hand and tell me what would you write as your exponential form, Natalie?
7 to the 3rd power.
Awesome. Or 7 cubed. How about number 13, Francis?
-8 to the 4th power.
You're close. Yes, you have to have parentheses. -8 in parentheses to the 4th power. Any questions about this? Are parentheses important?
Yes.
Are they optional?
No.
Very good. That's it for today. Number 2 is what you learned today. Ready? Share.